Is Cody, aka Zeno, and welcome to the Zeno Experience. Now, I am new to YouTube. This is my first time doing this. A little bit about myself. I am 26. I live in Tennessee, and I just wanted to start a YouTube channel to express my love of sports, give my take on what's going on in the sports world, specifically the NBA and the NFL. I also like to have fun with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And I do plan on bringing that to the channel as well. Showing just pack openings, me building fun random decks instead of the tier 0 Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks and what people use to dominate. But decks like, I guess you can call them budget decks, people want to build in their fun time. Today we are going to be discussing the top 5 and bottom 5 teams to this point in the NBA offseason. As of today, it is July 12th, and Damian Lillard has not been traded. Neither has players like Karl-Anthony Towns, James Harden, big names like that. So if those happen down the road, that will obviously affect teams on this list. I am going to start off with the top 5 losers to this point in NBA free agency. Starting with actually my Miami Heat, sadly. We did lose our starting point guard, Gabe Vincent, and our another starting guard in Max Strus. For a championship team, losing 2 starters, I think that's a huge loss. Now, we did make up for it by signing guys like Josh Richardson, who's really good defensively, and that we did add depth to our bigs with adding Thomas Bryant and drafting Jaime Vasquez Jr. Sorry, I am bad at pronouncing names. You will learn that throughout the time with me. But I think that I don't know how big an impact they can make coming onto the team. If Miami can get Damian Lillard, as the rumors and reports show, that will obviously make them one of the winners. But right now, they are sadly one of the losers. Coming in at number 4, I did go with the Golden State Warriors here. Them trading Jordan Poole and a first round pick for Chris Paul really didn't make too much sense to me. Bringing in a 38-year-old point guard when you already have Steph Curry seems weird, especially for someone as decorated as Chris Paul is. I think him coming off the bench will be a major adjustment for a player of his caliber, being a future Hall of Famer, first ballot. It will definitely be interesting. When you look at the roster, they do still have guys like I mentioned, Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Kevon Looney, and they did bring back Draymond Green. That's already a starting 5. That's going to more than likely be their starting 5, and Chris Paul, I don't see him being a starter or in their closing lineup unless they decide to go small and sit Looney, but I think that would be a mistake for them because they need that rebounding edge. Coming in at number 3, on the other side of that trade, is the Washington Wizards. I put them as having one of the worst off seasons because, to be totally honest, I don't know what they're doing this off season. They traded away their best player in Bradley Beal, and they brought back Jordan Poole, or they brought back in the Chris Paul trade Jordan Poole, and they re-signed Kyle Kuzma to a big contract. I don't know how they're going to compete next year. I don't know if they're going to be looking to tank and rebuild for the future. It's not quite as clear. Wizards fans, I am sorry. I don't fully understand the direction that the franchise is wanting to go in. That's why I did put them at number 3. Number 2 on my biggest losers to this point in free agency is the Portland Trailblazers. Obviously, Damian Lillard has requested out. He does not want to be in Portland anymore. I don't know if he will actually get traded or not. But the reason I put them at number 2 is you re-signed Jeremy Grant to a 5-year, $160 million contract. That's a lot of money for a player when he was supposed to be a key reason you're keeping Dame. Now Dame wants out, and you still have, and now you're still paying a quality role player, but $30+ million a year for a quality role player when now your franchise is going to be rebuilding. I did like the moves, however, drafting Scoot Henderson, but it doesn't really make sense to me why Portland wanted to re-sign a player in the back end of their prime for a big contract. Your superstar point guard one's out, and you're being a little hostage with that situation, saying we want to get the best contract. And I do understand wanting to get the most for Dame, but at the same time, the situation your team is in rebuilding, I don't know if wanting to hold out trading him right now is the best situation. But number one, I think it was obvious to go with the Houston Rockets to have the worst offseason. You bring in two rookies. You bring in Amin Thompson and you bring in Cam Whitmore. Two, I think, really good players coming out of college and into the NBA. I think they can be key pieces for your team moving forward with Jalen Green and Jabari Smith Jr. But you spent a lot of money on Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks. Those moves didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me because you gave them both 4-year big contracts when you drafted two players at the exact same position. I would have thought you would have saved that money, let your young guys develop another year, and it just really didn't make a whole lot of sense because you're not ready to compete, especially in that loaded Western Conference. And those are our 5 losers. To recap: Miami 5, Golden State 4, Washington 3, number 2 Portland, and number 1 Houston. Now to move on to our winners so far this free agency. Number 5, I put the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns clearly are in a win now mode, and adding Bradley Beal shows that they are trying to get as many premium scorers as possible. Now, with that said, you got 3 guys that all average 25 points, more than 25 points a game over the last several years on one roster. Someone's going to have to take a step back. I think that will be Bradley Beal. He'll be getting his shots reduction, but I think a key part of that was keeping DeAndre Ayton. Ayton, even though he's taken a lot of criticism, he's still a 7-footer. I think motivated under Frank Vogel. I think he's a great defensive head coach. I think Vogel will get the most out of him. You can probably expect maybe 10 to 15 points a game and about 10 to 12 rebounds. I think Ayton will be more motivated to prove that not only is he a premier center, but he does live up to that number 1 overall pick that he was. And with Phoenix going all in with getting Bradley Beal and being able to pair him with Booker and Durant, it's obvious they're going to be a contender in the West. They're going to be right up there with Denver and the Lakers to win a championship. And if they can get it done, then the trade was worth it. If not, Phoenix, you might be in trouble. But that's just for this offseason heading into next year. Coming in at number 4, the Boston Celtics. They definitely, I think, with the new rules of flagrant fouls being, they will start, if you are flopping, they will give you a technical foul. I think that is a huge rule addition. It's going to definitely impact the way players play defense. I like Marcus Smart, but he does flop a little more to me, more than the average player. But I think trading him away, adding an offensive weapon, and that really fits the system that Boston wants to run, and Kristaps Porzingis, I think that will be big time. And another huge thing is I have not heard anything about the Celtics willing to trade Jaylen Brown. I think if you can get Jaylen Brown to sign that max extension along with Jason Tatum, your dynamic duo, keep them long term. I know it will be expensive. I think the numbers is like $600 million for the two of them combined over the next 5-6 years. But I mean, heck, if you're in the conference finals or the NBA finals back-to-back years, I don't see why a team shouldn't go for it, especially with adding another key offensive piece that can spread the floor like Kristaps Porzingis. All right, coming in at number 3, I put the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I just bashed Marcus Smart in the last segment, but I do feel as though he did win a Defensive Player of the Year. I think his game will adjust. I think pairing him with last year's Defensive Player of the Year and Jaren Jackson Jr., you now have two of the top, I would say, 5 to 10 defensive players in the league on one roster. The other reason I put Memphis in at number 3, Ja Morant only received a 25-game suspension. Do I think he deserves more? Maybe, maybe not. If you want me to get into that, leave it in the comments. I can put another video on my reaction to that. I think Ja Morant's a great player. I think he's easily a top 5 point guard. But I think losing him for only a 25-game suspension was important to the team, meaning that he will be available for the last 3 quarters of the season and the playoffs, because this is a team that is right on the edge with Phoenix, with Lakers, with even the Clippers or the Nuggets. I think the Grizzlies, with the right parts and healthy, being a young team, I think they can compete with anybody in the West that next year. Coming in at number 2, let's go back to the East. I want to say the number 2 best offseason was the Milwaukee Bucks. Re-signing Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez was huge. You keep Giannis happy for at least another couple of years. I know small markets, you've got to keep that superstar happy to stay relevant. Portland's learning that issue right now with Damian Lillard. But Milwaukee, even though bounced in the first round, Giannis healthy. A lot of people think Milwaukee still could have won that series. Milwaukee, with that championship core with Holiday, Middleton, Lopez, Giannis, Portis, and all of them, they are a loaded team. They are going to be a team to be reckoned with the East. The East is going to come down to them, Boston, Philadelphia, and Miami. I think Milwaukee put themselves in a great position to compete with them and have a chance to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals, if not the NBA Finals, and a chance at a championship. And coming in at number 1, the team that I feel has won the NBA offseason to this point is the Los Angeles Lakers. They brought back Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, 2 great role players for them in the playoffs last year, for very good deals, very team-friendly deals. It's obvious they did want to stay in LA. They do want to play with LeBron, and honestly, that's a steal for them. But one of the main reasons I said they won the offseason, they got Gabe Vincent, they got Jackson Hayes, 2 players that were much needed. Another guard, when not only did you keep D'Angelo Russell, but you added another guard that if LeBron needs to take a game off, Vincent is used to having the ball in his hand, can get it, and can create his own shot, just like Austin Reeves can. And you add another big defender in a big center in Jackson Hayes, someone that if AD misses games or AD wants to take a break off a guy like Jokic, they struggle defensively trying to guard Jokic. Not saying Jackson Hayes can guard Jokic. I don't know if there's anyone except maybe Embiid that can guard Jokic. But adding another body to throw at him to disrupt his rhythm is big time. I think the Lakers to this point might be the best team in the league. Not only because of the pieces they added, because you still got LeBron coming back, you still got Anthony Davis coming back. If healthy, I think the Lakers are positioned right now to win the NBA championship because of their depth, their experience, and their ability to compete on both ends of the court. Not even to mention the Nuggets did lose a key player in their championship run in Bruce Brown. Now, he is a role player, but role players are just as important, as we learned in the NBA Finals, that Miami, when the role players like Strus and Robinson were struggling, the team struggled. Miami was so Jimmy Butler driven and Bam Adebayo driven, and the role players, when they were missing their open threes, they weren't winning. But that is my top 5 winners and top 5 losers of the NBA offseason to this point. If you have any ideas, anything you want me to talk about in the future, please let me know in the comments. And if you like my content, it would help my channel to start growing if you leave a like and subscribe.